Kakasolas, Yakuglas. My English name is Neel, and I'm from the Mamalilakla and Kwagil tribes of the Kwakwakiwag people. The Kwakwakiwag people literally translates to the Kwakwala-speaking people, and all of my artwork throughout my life has been rooted in those traditions, which some call the traditional style or classical style of formline design. And so a lot of my subject matter relates to our traditional legends. But I started learning how to do digital designing recently, and so a lot of my newer work is very contemporary, using newer materials and newer technologies. I began making artwork in my early teens. I actually started learning to carve with my younger brother, Kevin Cranmer, and from there we went on to a junior high school program where we were taught by George Hunt Jr. and learned a little bit about form line and design. And from there I went on pretty much on my own for a number of years, learning how to do button blankets. When I'm creating in button blanket or textiles work, I pretty much do everything the same way I've always done it. They're all by hand. I cut out all my own applique, I hand sew everything, hand sew all of the buttons. But when it comes to jewelry, which I started just a few years ago, I used to hand cut everything until it became a problem for my hands, and I started to suffer a lot of injuries. So I started to look for new technologies, and one of the technologies I've been having the most fun with lately is with a laser cutter. So I've been doing some jewelry with the use of a laser cutting machine. One of the biggest influences in my decision to become an artist was my grandmother, Neel. Her name was Kakasolas, and she was one of the only women totem pole carvers of her era. And she learned how to carve from my great-grandfather, Charlie James. Now, the two of them, in our family stories, I've had a number of family members talk about how they, in their respective eras, considered themselves contemporary artists. And I always thought that was really interesting. And my grandmother was a real pioneer in bringing our art into the commercial market. That wasn't always a popular idea, but it's become a very popular idea over time. So I'm really proud of that, and I really wanted to continue in her tradition and also in some of the work that she thought was important. So one of the biggest things for me is maintaining the integrity of our designs, doing them properly the way I was taught, and making sure that the designs stay with our artists. That is, that they're not really being copied by other people. The designs have to be done a certain way, and I really feel it's important that our young artists, just like we did when we were younger, learned all of the rules of formline first before trying to innovate it. And I think that's really important for the preservation of the form itself, but also where it's going to take us in the future.